one of the things that that's interesting. I feel like we do a good job for a new patient who's like, I'm just not ready. Well, we could do a better job. But like they might return at some point. We'll have somebody who like didn't sign on initially come back sometimes and be like, okay, now I'm ready. I feel like where I'm disappointed most is in our inability to create an atmosphere where when someone needs to take a break because life happened, something is disconnecting. Like, I know that if they called up, like somebody who was coming weekly, their family, we love them, and then they're like, we can't afford it. We're taking a break from care. Something that we're doing, and I don't know what it is, like they just don't feel welcome coming back because
Yeah.
I think they feel like they disappointed me, which they did,
Yeah.
right? Like that's
Yes.
what I'm
Yes.
saying.
Yeah.
Is like, so that's one of the things that I'm like, our reactivation, if you want to put a very masculine word to like what we're talking about, sucks because basically we have let them know that weekly care for life is what you need. And we can be all like nice and like, yep, we'll be here for you whenever you're back. But they know that when they come back, the expectation is weekly
Yeah.
for life. And so they're like, I don't know that I just wanted to come back for a little bit and dip my toe. And we're
Yeah.
like, no, no toe
Yeah.
dipping.
Well, could you play the long game? Um, you know, in some many of the business management texts, when I got out of the chiropractic classic coaching systems, I read about other businesses, and in the Good to Great book, they're like, you to go from good to great, you have to keep stuffing systems in behind you as you grow. You can't just stay stuck on the same things. And as people change and the industry changes, we have to change. And so one of the books I read talked about how the best thing you can do is think of what is the amount, what is the cost to acquire a new patient, which we all can do easily, but then what do you expect that client or patient to bring you in the length of their lifetime? And so rather than thinking of a plan and that your average patient might bring you, you know, 2 grand, 5 grand worth of um, worth of income, if you looked at it and thought, this is a fifty to $100,000 asset, how does that change your view of that person in the length of their lifetime? Oh, that's a different game.
Yeah.
I'm really going to care about everything in your life. And if this year you can't afford your care, I'm gonna help out there because I know that when you get your cash back and your health has improved and you're getting a new job that we've been goaling for and all those things, I was there with you in your worst time. And so you're going to be paying, and that I don't have to go and find another new patient then because you're not only going to tell everyone how amazing I was for giving to you when you needed it, but then I was also there. And then you can look 2 years, 5 years, 10 years time. You're not looking for new patients then because you have got your tribe. They know you love them. And the commercial part of in your head as a business owner is saying, you're one of my $50,000 assets. And if chiropractors looked like that and thought every new patient is potentially a $50,000 asset instead of a 2,000, in Australia and some of the places where we coach, the average visitation is two. But that's because they see the new patient, they do a report of findings, and they're gone. And some of them don't even get past the first one because their average is to only two. And
Right.
so it's this terrible leaking bucket of searching for new patients. What if I told you this new patient was worth 50,000 to you? What would you do different? How much kinder would you be? How much effort would you put into texts and calls and meeting them where they're at and helping them when they're down and you know that's a different game. And yet that's what lifetime, a big long-term business plan is to play the long game. And that's the goal. It's been the gold for me. I'm like, you know what? And I've been in the newspaper saying I'm suspended for being an anti-vaxxer. And I would have
Yeah,
thought
I've
that,
heard about your
half the
reputation.
Yeah, half the patients would have, I've gone up against the government and against the current belief, and yet and at the moment, I can't even get on Instagram and promote my business. I can't even. I don't know. I don't email the database because I'm not sure who's on my side and who's not. And yet, the practice is busy as ever, purely from word of mouth. Because the people that love me are the ones that they know that I'm a good human and that I've done the right thing for them for the last 30 years. And so even the worst betrayal doesn't stick because we've built those trust bonds so thick and we've given and given to that relationship. So that's where you get those blissful dividends when you give and give in a different way with a different attitude instead of just trying to convert for another plan. For me, it's much bigger than just two, three, four, $5,000. It's a $50 to $100,000 asset in the lifetime of that client being in my business.